welcome back to the Stock Car Show and another episode, another roundup of probably the wettest and muddiest meeting I think has ever happened in BriSCA Formula 1 stock car racing. First we go on to the V8 World Final. That was won by Thomas Brighton for the second time in his career, so big congratulations to Thomas on that one. I think only 5 cars finished, which just proves how difficult the conditions were. Onto the F1s, another shootout round and the first world qualifier. Heat 1 was won by Joe Booth. Heat 2 was won by Paul Hines, who battled Frank Wayman Jr., who's in his group, managed to get away from him amazingly. Consolation was won by Will Adams. The final was won by Sam Brigg, who just, I think, lapped everyone in that race. It was just complete control over the worst of conditions. And the Grand National was won by Jonathan Davison for his second win in stock car racing. Now, what does that do to the points then? For the shootout, winning Group A, Danny Wayman still leads on 47 points. Paul Hines sits second on 41. Frank Wayman Jr. still in the cutoff on 33. Bobby Griffin still hasn't attended a meeting yet. Group B, Dave Polly still leads on 49, but his lead has been absolutely slashed by Carl Hawkins, who's now only 8 points behind on 41. Matt Newson now drops to the cutoff in third with 26, and similar to Bobby, Charlie Sauter has not attended a meeting yet. Group C, Tom Harris leads, extending his lead after Finn Sargent didn't even attend the race due to the conditions, which is just completely fair enough. He leads on 35, Finn Sargent still in second on 24, and Craig Finnegan, who I think not just me, many people would have thought he would have maybe jumped to second after that meeting, after he got to the lead in, I think it was Heat 1 after about 5 laps, and went to the lead in the consolation after about 2 laps. DNFing them both, unfortunately, so he is still in the cutoff on 9 points. Frank Wayman Jr. hasn't attended a meeting. Group D, Lee Fairhurst's massive lead has been cut. He's on 47. Sid DeFries had an amazing final and Grand National, which helped him boost up to second. Well, he was already in second, but boost his gap. He's now on 35. Callum Thornton with a career best on Shale in second in the consolation when only 8 cars started and only 4 finished. He is on 13, and Catherine Harris on 9. She DNF'd the consolation. Not too sure on the reason, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was due to the mud getting in the engine or something, because the conditions were terrible. I don't think I've said that enough yet. So that currently means then that Frank Wayman Jr., Bobby Griffin, Matt Newson, Charlie Sauter, Craig Finnegan, Frank Wayman Jr., Callum Thornton and Catherine Harris are getting knocked out as they stand. But 2 final rounds to go. Buxton on Saturdays, so Callum Thornton and Catherine Harris in particular will be looking at this as their chance to get back in it. But then the cut-off as we return to Scunthorpe on Sunday, where Sid DeFries will most likely try and outscore Callum and Catherine if there is a close battle to decide who goes through and who doesn't. Cole Hawkins, Matt Newson is one to look for. I mean, on tarmac, you'd probably say Matt Newson will be the driver with the most points out of them two, but on Scunthorpe, anything can happen. We saw what happened last year at Northampton with Jack France and Matt Newson going to the Grand National. Something like that could happen. But Group A is probably where it all lies down to. Danny Wayman, Paul Hines, Frank Wayman Jr., 3 drivers. Probably 3 drivers you expect to go through, but obviously only 2 can in the way the groups work. It'll be a massive shock if Frank Wayman Jr. gets knocked out. He'll be going all out on this weekend, probably, to make sure he does advance and stop either Danny Wayman or Paul Hines advancing. Craig Finnegan has a lot of work to do, especially as he's now a more shale driver than tarmac. Obviously, he's no slouch on tarmac, so Finn Sargent can maybe try and get a bit of a gap as we head into Sunday's Scunthorpe meeting. As I said, it was also a world qualifier. Don't know if I'm going to do this every world qualifying round. I'll try my very best to, but I can't find a points table at the moment, so we're just going off points at Bradford because it was round 1. Sam Brigg does lead it on 54, Neil Shenton in second on 31, Carl Hawkins third on 28, Sid DeFries and Frank Wayman Jr. tied in 4th on 26. The rest of the points are on screen. Now we had 24 point scorers out of the possible, I think it was 37 or something. So that's how much drivers dropped out due to the weather. This weekend, as I said, it's Buxton and Scunthorpe. At Buxton, we see 31 drivers booked in, and at Scunthorpe, an amazing 52 drivers are booked in, and that's also alongside 70 BriSCA F2 stock cars, which their F2 lineup doesn't feature the world champion Gordon Moody and the defending Silver Roof Charlie Ginchard as they go to Taunton to once again battle it out for the Silver Roof as their points get even closer towards the end of the season. It's just between them for the points. So that is your roundup and preview then for this week's Shootout Cutoff Decider and the Wet Bradford meeting. If you enjoyed on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, then please drop a follow and rate 5 stars. That'd be very much appreciated. And I'll see you next week as we find out which 8 drivers are knocked out of the Shootout.